Okay, as I was saying, right, the next exercise that I'll require you all to do is to line up this image that you will download from your teams, and then you will model this object out. Okay, so this is a very simple object and all of you should be able to do this properly. Okay, first go over to your teams and download it from your exercise or project files folder. So this file, I want you to download this file. In fact, I'm going to download it now. And then save it to your source images folder. Okay, so please take note, a lot of the images that you brought in all the time, right, will not have the square image dimensions. So we have to do one operation before we can start to use it. So we're going to use Photopea again. You can use Photoshop. Drag and then drop it. And then go to Image, Canvas Size. Copy the longest dimension and overwrite the shorter dimension. Then click OK. Then go to File, Export as a JPEG, and save. And it should go into your download folder. Copy or cut this processed image and then paste it back into your source images folder. Okay, replace the original file and now you have a square image. And I mentioned this many times before, we need the square image so that when we texture map it into our reference, it will not be distorted. So I'll start a brand new file. And I make sure that this is in my correct project. So I need to set it to my toy train project. Then click on a new file, which I'm in right now. So we'll start by creating a new plane. Go to polyplane under subdivision width and height. Okay, move your cursor over here, middle mouse click and slide it back to the left until it becomes only one subdivision. Okay, here this is very important. A lot of students, right, go to scale and then scale this up, and then this will cause the UV or the projection, right, to be distorted. So do not scale it here. You want to change the size of the image reference, do it over here. Go to width and height. Okay, click on width, hold down the shift and select height. Move your cursor over here, middle mouse click, drag to the right until middle mouse click and drag until you have the entire plane fill up the grid. Next, we want to apply the image texture or reference onto this plane. Right mouse click, assign favorite material and choose surface shader. Click on surface shader tab under the out color, the checker box here, then choose file, then click on the folder and then look for the isometric image, which is this one, and then click on open. So to view the texture here, you have to press on texture display. So now we do our lineup. So first, we can tap the space bar to go to all the four views. This is the top view here, so we will do the lineup of the top view first. Then press number 6 to activate the texture display. Now first I want to move the plane down below the grid in the y-axis, push it down. Then in the top view, let's line up the top view first. So move your cursor over here, tap the space bar to maximize it. Move it until you can see the top view is lined up. Now what we want to do is we want to move the top view until it is lined up in the center. Okay, so right now I'm eyeballing this. So right now this is in the center. I think this looks good enough. Okay, then I tap the space bar to go back to my fore view. Now go to my front view. I need to duplicate another plane for the front view. Hold down the shift and grab the y-axis and then clone another piece. Press E to rotate. Okay, hold down the J and rotate around the x-axis until you get 90 degrees. Check the channel box that you have rotated exactly 90 degrees. Move your cursor over here, press number 6 to turn to shaded mode. If you don't see the grid line, that means the plane is too much forward. Press W and push along the blue arrow until it's behind the grid. Now we can see the grid line. Now you can see the front view labeled here very clearly. Move this up until the front view, the bottom right is lined up at the bottom here. And tap the space bar to maximize the view. Now if you cannot find your pivot point, we can shift the pivot point down here. Press D and release. Move the pivot point down until it's exactly in the center here. Press D again to get out of pivot adjustment. Now we can fine tune the adjustment until we get it lined up as much as we can. Like so. Okay, so now the front view is lined up. Tap the space bar to get back to our fore view. Now we're only left with the right side, the right view. Okay, so duplicate another plane, holding down the shift, duplicate this, press E to rotate, holding down the J, rotate along the Y-axis until it's 90 degrees. Or you can enter the value here. Move your cursor over here, press number 6. Okay, press W to move, grab the X-axis, push it back behind the grid, and then in our right view, move your cursor over here, tap the space bar to maximize. Okay, grab the blue arrowhead and then push it forward until we get it lined up nicely. Okay, we don't even have to move it up and down. Okay, right now I'm just eyeballing this. We should be able to get it lined up nicely. Okay, if you want to move the pivot point, you can press D and then push the pivot point over here so that you can do some fine adjustments. Press D again to get out of pivot adjustment. Okay, so now we have our three view lined up. Okay, we first have to lock them into the layers. Under our layers, select all the display and then click on the final button here. In the third button here, click it a couple of times until they are locked. Okay, and then we can start to model this. This shape is very simple, so we can actually model this from a cube. So shift right mouse click, okay, create a cube. Okay, and we are going to scale this cube up until it matches the dimensions. So we'll start off with the top view first. I'm going to press my space bar, left mouse click on Maya, go to top view. Okay, and then scale this until it fits the height of the, or rather the thickness of the top view, and then we can grab the X-axis and then scale it up until it matches the width. And then that's it for the top view. So switch over to the front view. Okay, we're going to press W to move. Move this up until it is lined up on the floor here. The other video, right, I'm modeling this slightly different. Okay, so I'm just moving this slightly to the front to have it lined up. Okay, now I want to see through this cube so that I can maybe add a subdivision and change the shape here. So over to shading, I'm going to click on X-ray. Alright. So there are a couple of ways that I can use to create this section over here. But the easiest and quickest way, right, will be to apply a bevel on the edge here. Alright. So to do that, okay, I have to go over to perspective view first. Select this corner and then press Ctrl B to apply a bevel. And that's it. We already cut a corner here like that. And switch back to the front view. Right mouse click, go over to vertex mode. Okay, press W to move these two vertices. Push it back until it's lined up. And then that's it. Okay, this shape is done. Now go over to the right view. Okay, our right view, we don't have to do anything. The right view seems okay. Maybe perhaps we have to move everything back slightly until it matches the reference. Scale it down a little bit. And then that's it. Okay, we have this main object done right now. The last part is to create the boolean to cut through the center here. And for that, we need to use a cylinder. Okay, I'm going to press Alt-5 to show the wireframe. Okay, rotate the cylinder. We're going to use the default cylinder because there's sufficient size that is round enough. If you want a rounder cylinder, you can increase the number of subdivisions. So holding down to J and then grabbing the x-axis, I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. Okay, go over to your front view, press W, move it up until it's at the center here. Okay, we can go over to the polycylinder inputs in the channel box and then increase the radius until it matches the radius of this reference. Okay, I'm going to bring it down a little bit, middle mouse click, okay, slide it left and right, and then that's it. Okay, it's slightly to the right a bit, so I'm going to press W to move it to the right a bit until it lines up with the reference. Okay, next I want to go over to perspective view and check. You can see the cylinder right now is not long enough, so you can go over to the inputs here and then change the height length until it bursts out from this former cube object. Alright, now I'm going to switch over to normal shading. I'm going to turn off X-ray, and now that you guys already know how to do Boolean, okay, so select the main object, shift select the object that you want to subtract from, then go to mesh, booleans and difference, and that's it. Okay, your object is now created. Okay, so this object is simple. I think all of you should be able to create this. Okay, but just want to let you know that your exam, right, will be something similar to this. Okay, so now of course the object will not be so simple because you have 1.5 hours to do all of this. So your object will be something much more complicated. Right, so the object, right, that you might right, get to do is something like this. Alright, spray bottle. So you will use the same techniques, right, to line up the spray bottle. Now I will not be recording the spray bottle demo because I already have another video recorded for the other class. So those of you who already finished modeling this later on, I want you to go and import in your Boolean object. Okay, so I already imported the Boolean object. It is hiding underneath here, so I'm gonna bring it out. Go and rescale this, make it a bit bigger. Turn on your wireframe later on. Okay, make sure all of this is on and then position it nicely. Do a screen capture of this view. Do a screen capture of this and then submit this for today's class assignment. Okay, those of you already finished this, okay, please start with the bottle modeling. And if you need to see the video, it is inside this playlist already. The spray bottle for QClass spray bottle. I'm going to rename this for both classes. So watch this one to continue. This one is from start to finish. Took me 40 minutes, but because I'm teaching at the same time, if I'm doing this by myself without talking, I can probably finish this within 15 minutes. But you guys have 1.5 hours to do this. Alright, so practice by starting to do this now. Treat this that you are doing like an exam, and then from start to end, right, you have to at least model out the main details. So watch this video once you are done with this. Okay, with that I will end the video recording.